Let's talk about targeting. There are 6 different ways that I can target ads on the internet. And depending upon whether I work for a network, which is serving ads across many sites, or a single site, which is only serving ads across the many pages of their site, I still have these 6 ways, although they may play out just slightly differently. The first way I could target ads is run of network or run of site. Those ads will be placed really on any particular page without regard for the person I'm targeting or the content on that page. And it's a perfect way to serve ads if my goal is to find a low-cost way to do so. Because when I don't target in any other way except run of network, it's usually the least expensive inventory. Now keep in mind that once the campaign begins, the optimization process will begin. And we'll see which pages are producing clicks, which sites are producing clicks, and which ones are not. And we could start to prune away those unproductive parts of the campaign, and we heavy up the parts that are working. So at the end of the campaign, even a run of network or run of site campaign will look different than it did on day one. Then we could start to target beyond that. We can target in the most common way, contextually relevant ways. Even in the offline world, this is the typical way targeting occurs. In this way, I say to myself, what is the demographic profile of the person I'm reaching, and what kind of media do they like to consume? So to make it easy, let's say I'm trying to reach young men 18 to 24 who are interested in sports because I'm trying to sell them sneakers. So I look for content online, either on the pages of a particular website or sites across a network, and I create a channel where only that content occurs, and all the ads will occur somewhere in that content, but nowhere else. Well, the theory being, if I'm a 18 to 24-year-old man interested in sports, possibly interested in sneakers, I'm going to be reading that content, and I will be seeing sneaker ads which fits right into what I'm doing, and it's relevant and it's interesting as a result. A third way I could do it is value add. Now let me explain value add from the point of view of a one site selling advertising. When a site goes to advertisers and offers advertising opportunities, of course there'll be ad units throughout the site. There'll be pre-roll opportunities before video and certain ad units on different pages. But value added is a way for an advertiser perhaps to pay a little bit more money, but to have a unique offering. It may be wallpaper, it may be a headline, a sponsorship, it may be an advertorial. It will be something that not all advertisers get. It may even look a little bit like the content of the site, and so it looks a little less like an ad. And depending upon my branding goals, that may be a perfect solution for me. Now, if I'm a network, I may have a relationship with a particular site, and I may be able to sell one of my network advertisers value add on one particular site in that same way. Another way I could target, and one of the most confusing ways for most people, is behavioral targeting. Now, behavioral targeting is not about knowing the personally identifiable information about a user. We don't know their name and address and social security number, but what we do know is their past click history. So, looking at the type of sites that they travel to and the period of time that they do that in. So for example, let's say a person looks at financial sites and they visited 100 different financial sites over the course of a week, we can assume that they have an interest in finance. And we can continue to believe that even if that user is not on a finance site. So if they're on a finance site and we are behaviorally targeting them, we'll serve them an ad, let's say for a particular kind of financial service. On the other hand, that same user might be checking out a travel site. Still interested in finance, they go to a travel site and now they see an ad. It was behaviorally targeted because that user has shown an interest in the subject. When a person sees a contextually irrelevant ad, that is to say, in this scenario, a financial service ad on a travel site, you're not expecting to see that. It catches your eye, and for that reason, it can be a very effective way to work. It's best to test both ways, contextual and behavioral, but you may find that the behavioral works great because that user's experience is completely targeted. Anybody who has ever looked for a discount flight and then later went online and just looked almost anywhere, you'll probably see an ad for a discount flight to the city you were looking into. And that's an example of behavioral targeting. Another form of behavioral targeting is called retargeting. In retargeting, a person's behavior is they came to a site and left the site. Now, they may have come to a particular page and left. They may have begun the checkout process and abandoned it. They may have, in fact, completed the checkout process. Regardless of which stage they reached, by putting the right kind of cookie on their browser, we're able to identify that user when they return online. And we may, if we're clever, serve them an ad that'll pull them back to that site. So if I almost but did not quite complete the checkout process, I may get an ad that says to me, come back and we're going to offer you a 5% discount off your next purchase. Well, that may be just enough to get me over the hump. Or if I last looked at a shirt on a men's clothing site, I may be shown other shirts because they know that not only am I interested in clothing, but I'm interested in shirts. And so retargeting can be a very effective way. If we start cooking all the users that come to a site, eventually millions of people are cookied, and we could serve lots of ads to very interested people, people that we know are more likely to be interested than the average person. And finally, geographic targeting. In internet advertising, we're typically able to serve ads which are geographically targeted all the way down to a zip code, or a DMA, which is a demographic market area, or a state, or the entire country, or other countries. Another form of targeting is domain targeting. I could recognize when somebody comes online what their main domain was. So, for example, if I want to reach people whose domain says at Merrill Lynch, then I will serve an ad to anybody that comes with a Merrill Lynch domain. Similarly, I could target people by their ISP, by their browser, or other types of specific things about their computer experience when they come online.